May you walk softly through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. I just thought I'd start with that because it's a really nice quote and it's on a bench at the park that I usually fly at. And so I'm not at my usual bench top because I'm sort of cut short for time and this thing is coming out really soon. So this is I don't even know which hawk it is. I call it the medium hawk because it's not the tiny hawk and it's not the 5-inch hawk. It's a 4-inch hawk. So it's the medium hawk. That's why my OSD says medium hawk. Or something else. I don't remember what I put on the OSD. Anyways, so this is a 4-inch quad from the guys at Emax. And like I've always said in my previous videos, this is once again from those guys at Emax that I know that fly themselves and know exactly what they're doing with everything that they build. They really do a great job with design and everything. So first let's talk about the size. This is a 4-inch size, and the 4-inch size is sort of a bastard size to me because in my opinion, it can't really carry an HD camera as nicely as a 5-inch, and it doesn't really have the flight time of a 5-inch either. However, it's not slow, but it's also not small. So I think those are the reasons why 4-inch is not quite as popular as we may think it should be, because it's not really a small quad anymore. It's not really a quiet quad or a stealthy quad, and it's not quite as powerful or as versatile as a 5-inch. And I know there are going to be people that object to me and say, oh, they love their 4-inch and it does everything the 5-inch does and better, which great, good for you. In my opinion, I don't think a 4-inch is quite as versatile as a 5-inch. However, Emax has gone ahead and done something somewhat original because there really aren't that many ready to fly 4-inch quads on the market, and put out this 4-inch. And so this is targeted towards people that are newcomers or racers. If you're a newcomer and you're getting this thing, I would say watch out because it's really freaking fast. Maybe you don't want to use the battery that's included with it. This is a 4S 850 milliamp battery that comes with the quad from Emax, and this is so fast. I can't even explain it. I'm using these props that are not the props that comes with it because they're a little bit toned down. They're a little bit slower. This is actually a Gem Fan. I don't even know what prop it is. Let me try to read what prop it is. I can't read it because it's bright yellow. 4032. It's a Gem Fan 4032. I actually really like this prop a lot. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner when it's flying through the air. Okay, anyways, let's talk about the quad itself. So this is the Mini Magnum 2, 3, I don't know, whatever it is. It's an updated Mini Magnum, and it's really pretty cool board because it's a 20 by 20 stack, and it's got these caps built into it already, so you don't have to add any more caps to it. And they've designed the frame to fit the caps through the frame, which is pretty awesome, and it also doesn't stick out like an eyesore. This is the updated version of this board. I think it does 6S. If it doesn't do 6S, I'm going to put it on the screen, but I'm pretty sure it does 6S as well. And like I said, it's a 20 by 20 board. However, you can see that's a little bit oversized, so it does actually have the ability to handle more power than your typical 20 by 20 size ESC, and that's really nice. Moving forward, the camera on here is again a Caddx camera. One thing I wish they would stop doing is using Caddx cameras because I have had so many glitchy problems with Caddx. However, the camera that's being used in this and the camera that's being used in a lot of the Emax quads is the CCD camera from Caddx. So it's not their CMOS cameras, and it's really hard to mess up the CCD cameras because they're all the same camera. They're all buying the same board from the same company and putting pretty much the same lens on it, so you're going to get exactly the same kind of performance, and it's not bad. It's not the greatest camera, it's not my most preferred camera, but it's also not bad. It's very good at low light, it's very good at highlights, it's very fast at light dark transitions. It's also got a very low latency. It's still a good camera. It's just a little low resolution for my taste, at least what it looks like through the FPV feed. The motors on here are 1606 3300 kV motors. They are suitable for 4S and 3S on 4-inch props. I would say if you're a beginner, you should definitely run 3S on the squad and not run any more than 3S for a while, because even though it's arguably easier to fly when you have a little bit more power, a little bit of more power, not a lot of bit more power. This thing is probably doing 120 miles per hour on this battery, and the flight time is reasonable. It's not the highest flight time, like I said. 4-inch doesn't quite have the efficiency of 5-inch. Even if you're just cruising around, you can't expect to get more than about 3-4 minutes, very max on this quad, whereas cruising around on my 5-inch, I can easily get upwards of 7-8 minutes if I'm really just cruising and not doing anything drastic. Overall, I think it's a really awesome quad because it just flies so nice. It's so freaking fast. But you also have to note that it is kind of a racing quad, and so you can't really fly it slow because the throttle is really touchy down low because it is really powerful. So you kind of sort of always need to fly it at an angle at sort of racing speeds. The frame on it is somewhat unique. It has boomerang arms on the front. They are connected. However, they do seem to use multiple screws per arm. But bugs are also eating me. So they are boomerang arms in the front and back, and I think it comes with a spare boomerang arm in the box. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I haven't looked in the box for a while. The frame is nice. It's a really nice frame. One thing I would say is that there's two negatives, and they're really stupid negatives, but there's two negatives on this thing. One negative is that the screws that they're using for the canopy to hold the canopy on are not the hardest screws. So I've actually stripped this one on the back, and I can't take the canopy off now because if I wanted to, I'd have to drill out that screw, and it's really upsetting that I stripped that screw. I really wish that they would use, or just everybody would move to using the M2 size screws that have the hex pattern for the larger M3 sized driver. And a lot of you know what I mean because the screws that come with a lot of FPV cameras have that larger hex pattern on it, so you don't need to use the smaller M2 or 1mm size, whatever millimeter sized hex driver. The other negative I would say is that the battery strap, it's just way too long for this thing, for the tiny little battery that's just strapped to this thing. Of course, you can strap a bigger battery on there if you want to just fly for a longer period of time, but the more weight you add to it, you are going to just detract from the performance of the quad. I actually think that this quad is probably going to be best on 3S because it really is super powerful on 4S. I don't know how many people really need that kind of power, and it's also not going to give you a full 2 minutes at a race pace, so I really don't know how many people are going to need that power. I think a 1000 milliamp 3S or 1100 milliamp 3S might be a better option for this quad for the flight time, and it's not going to be as fast, but I'm sure it's not going to be slow. I don't have those battery sizes for this to try it in 3-inch size. And also, lastly, the canopy. The canopy is this hard plastic, which a lot of you have known by now because a lot of products that they've had have come with this plastic canopy on top, and it's plastic, so it can break, so you might have to replace it, and that's just the unfortunate truth about canopies and things like this. Lastly, I want to throw another tip about dental hygiene in there, and I read the comments on my flossing videos so often because it just makes me so excited that you guys are so interested in learning a little bit about dental care. And like I've said, I'm not going to bore you guys too much with it because I know that if I did it too much, you guys would really just stop watching me. But I am genuinely appreciative at the response to that video. People are homeschooling their kids and are showing their kids that video. I'm really thankful for that. I feel like I'm actually getting people to floss, which is amazing, or just think about their dental care in general, which is truly amazing. Anyways, a popular question was, is a Waterpik as good as floss? The straightforward answer would be no. However, the longer answer would be kind of maybe. It's better than nothing. So what floss does, I don't know if I went over this in the last video, by the way, so sorry if it's a repeat. What floss does is it gets between the teeth, the parts of the teeth that actually touch. And that's something that a Waterpik can't quite get to. However, if any of you guys are real wise guys, you'll realize that bacteria also can't quite get between the teeth, like exactly where they touch. And the cavities actually form just below the contact point of where the teeth touch. Now, what floss does is it does a good job of disrupting the bacteria around that contact point and going through that contact point. Well, the Waterpik doesn't quite do enough to disrupt the bad bacteria between the teeth. Now, I haven't looked up recent research about that, but it's not quite as good as floss at specifically that. However, the Waterpik is much better than floss for a lot of other things, like gum care and getting underneath bridges and teeth that you have floating around there, and implants, and getting in between little crevices and really just blasting air down into the spaces between the teeth and the gums. There's like a pocket of tissue between your teeth and gums, and once that pocket gets a little too deep, then it becomes really bad and things can go downhill pretty quickly. So That's what a Waterpik is really good for. The best way to go is to get a Waterpik, and then floss, and then brush your teeth and do everything. But I really don't expect people to do that because that's a little extravagant. I have a hard time even keeping up with all the stuff that I do to clean my own teeth, and I really don't expect my patients to do the same things. Anyways, I hope that was helpful and informational. I'm sorry that it wasn't like a straight answer of yeah, Waterpik is fine, or no, flossing is required. But if all you do is Waterpik and not floss, it's better than not doing anything. So yeah, anything helps. Take care. Floss your teeth. Bye-bye.